too bad everyone sat down because you're going to need to get up because we're going to start with a little physical activity again. Some real basics, going old school. First, start with the windmill. Now reverse, Jimi Hendrix style, left hand. Don't hit anyone. Chuck Berry duck walk. And back. Hair whip. And reverse. Headbang. And then, of course, the metal salute. Go ahead.
Could you dismiss the students to go to the students?
Students, you are dismissed to go. Hey, it was great hanging out with you, though. Now, what we just opened with this morning are some of the innovative physical activity strategies we're attempting to integrate in the Norris school system. Since most of the students today listen to Lil Wayne and Drake, they're really not familiar with those classic headbanging metal moves. So thank you for playing along and joining in with that. You know, I'm here today to provide to you perspective on personal health and wellness, and I'm going to be pretty personal and pretty candid with you in terms of my own experiences and sharing that out with you. But before I delve into that, I want to acknowledge that some of the partners we've worked with in an organizational manner at Norris have had a profound impact on our ability to be successful in integrating a student health and wellness policy. And some of the partners that I wanted to just mention because they've been so effective with us have been the Alliance for a Healthier Generation, because it provides basically free resources and some really workable metrics for schools to identify what their needs are and measure their success. The Farm to School program, because it helped us at Norris really examine in greater detail our food service program and try to incorporate local producers in really cool, innovative ways that attracted kids. The Fuel Up to Play 60 program, because it connects both nutrition literacy and physical activity opportunities for kids, and those are the two fundamental or core elements of our student health policy. And then the Healthier U.S. Schools Challenge, because the HUSK competition really sets the bar very high, and those are rigorous expectations for schools to strive towards meeting. And so, while I'm going to talk with you today about the individual choice and your individual willpower and us collectively committing on that individual level to doing things that promote wellness, I wanted to start out by acknowledging how important those programmatic interventions are in being successful. So the objectives for today, you know, they're really, I think, pretty simple. Look at 1, 2, and 3, recognizing the importance of modeling the right messages. I just think that we, all of us in this room, have a profound formative influence on those around us. And by those around us, I don't just mean the kids we serve, but the adults with whom we interact every day. So I'll talk with you about how we adopt some proactive strategies and try to really embrace a commitment to personal wellness. And then I'm going to challenge you to do two things. And so I want you to just start thinking about that and let it marinate in the back of your mind a little bit during the comments. A 30-day goal for personal wellness that you have, just what you intend to commit to for the next month, and then a 36-month or a 3-year stretch goal. Something that from where you're at right now, you're not sure you could see yourself doing, but you know it's something you're passionate about, or there's more than a flicker, there's a flame of interest in trying to achieve something on a personal wellness level that if you target it and it's 3 years out there, you can meet that goal. So think about what those two things might be for you. And then, while we want to achieve those 3 objectives, we also want to achieve the 4th, which is without being a freak about it. Okay? And what I mean by that is if we are freaks about fitness and nutrition, we may lose credibility and polarize ourselves from being inclusive and bringing others on board and engaging them in the discussion. And we all know that person. We all know that person. Please, don't be that person. And what I mean by that is the person who is so religiously righteous and full of inflamed zealotry regarding diet and nutrition that it actually comes across as offensive to others. And I'll give you an example. I don't care who you are. Flaxseed should not be an ingredient in a 10-year-old's birthday cupcake. Okay? We all know the person who's like so intent on bringing and sharing the nutritious, delicious side dish that they're like, I've got this wonderful new dip I want to share with you, this wonderful new veggie dip. It is made of fresh cat litter and ground chickpeas, so it is both smooth and yet there's some texture to it, kind of crunchy. It's filling, yet surprisingly refreshing. Those dishes that kind of sit there and you're thinking, oh my God, in the name of being polite, I feel compelled to try it, but really? So I want to encourage us, because those of you who are here are committed. You're committed to healthy lifestyles, to active lifestyles, to good nutrition, or you wouldn't be here at the Action for Healthy Kids conference. And so I just want to encourage all of us to be inclusive in our work with others to bring them along. So our regulation at Norris talks about the importance of being a healthy role model for students. And the denotation of this is the Norris School District. It's 5550 is the policy for student health and wellness in the Norris School District. And the regulation actually states that our employees are encouraged to be healthy role models for students. And it goes on to talk about some behaviors that are encouraged, discouraged. And this statement, while its denotation is Norris, I would hypothesize that most of your districts and most workplaces have something similar, because there's been a growing awareness of the importance of personal wellness and fitness in helping have a healthy and productive workplace. So what's really at stake here? What's it really about? Here's my question for you. Does anyone really need more evidence? I'm not going to pummel you with bar graphs and pie charts. And does anyone here really need to see the CDC map again over the decades, showing the progressively fatter America, starting with, 1960, 1970, 1980, 1990, 2000. We know that, right? The reality is we have seen it. The reality is we are in close proximity to the Golden Corral Bonanza stockyard with the all-you-can-drink butter spigot or whatever it is. And I know there can't be any one of you out there today who's thinking, this is a revelation. America has a problem with weight? This is affecting us? It's not like it's obesity, the invisible epidemic. We know it. We know the problem's out there, so we don't need to be confronted with more data. What we need are actions and the determination to do something about it, because I think the awareness is there. And when it comes to coordinated school health, and you've got a better, more visible picture of that diagram in your program, employee wellness is a key. Employee wellness is a key, and I want to talk with you today about making that commitment to wellness, because what's really at stake, this is a photograph of on a staff work day. I think it was about 7:30 a.m. in the morning. Teachers and staff required to report at 8. And these are some of our middle school team members. And I love this photo because they have such a great stride going, and there's just so much positive energy coming off of them. It's our team members. What's at stake is the health, the sense of connectedness and belonging in the workplace with one another. It's the sense of productivity you derive by feeling good about yourself and helping others feel good about themselves in the workplace setting. And this is just one example of, a really basic, inclusive staff wellness approach, which is getting out there and, in Nebraska winters, the climate is not necessarily inviting to being outdoors for the run at work days, but just walking the halls and being together. That's part of what is at stake. So we cannot effectively model what we fail to practice ourselves. And if we expect students to commit to a healthier lifestyle, then we have to show, encourage, help, and assist them by helping ourselves first. Helping ourselves first and prioritizing our own personal wellness. The caption on the cartoon is, "I'm afraid you'll have to start late tonight. I want you to attend the talk on work-life balance." Teaching is a service vocation. It's about giving back, and almost everyone in this room is in the service business. Whether you're an educator or you're a public health official, you're about giving back to others and helping them get a leg up. And yet, there is so much concerning data out there. You look at the results of the PDK Gallup poll of teacher satisfaction, and increasingly, teachers feel overburdened, overwhelmed, and yet we continue to ask more of our educators, and we put more burdens and more responsibilities on them. So in order to really succeed, we've got to first prioritize that personal wellness, because it has a very large role. So, what's our level of commitment? Here's what I want you to know. The Pepsi trucks are rolling at 5 a.m. every day. And the reason I share this photo with you is I've noticed, and you can see it yourselves if you hit the Rock Island Trail any morning, between 4 and 6 a.m., the Pepsi distribution center is over there on Wind Oak Drive. And the thing is, it got me thinking. And I'm not villainizing them. I'm just suggesting that in some ways, the beverage industry is kicking our sedentary butts before we've even gotten out of bed in the morning through their blatant appeal to consumerism. Because those trucks are out there rolling, and they are hustling. Those guys are getting out there and they are delivering their wares to retail stores, convenience stores, gas stations. Every morning they're getting after it and they're getting out there. And so the challenge I'm throwing out there to us is they're committed. What's our level of commitment? And just asking ourselves honestly, are we committed to healthy lifestyles with the same level of energy and zealous commitment that our consumer society is committed to getting their hands on those beverages? Now, in the interest of total transparency, I want to share with you my child nutrition circa 1978. And that's an RC Cola can on your right there, and then the Slim Jim original. And the RC Cola collector can, I don't know how many, is there anyone else in here who actually collected some of those RC Cola cans that had the baseball player imprints on them? Love them. And I initially thought that I would probably get rich and retire on selling that collection, and then I noticed when you go online that there's literally hundreds of thousands of them still quite readily available. Our child nutrition, me, Ely, Iowa, love to ride across the highway to Harry's 66 gas station and grab a RC Cola and a Slim Jim in the afternoon. Summers, that was my favorite snack. You know, I confess I wasn't a label reader at the time. I mean, I was looking for certain players, don't get me wrong. I really wanted the Thurman Munson can. I got the Pete Rose can. I didn't ever pay attention to the 42 grams of sugar in 12 ounces of RC Cola. Nor did I ever think about the fact that one Slim Jim that size has over a sixth of your daily sodium intake. Just wasn't aware. So, you know, a lot of what we have to think about is how we want to differentiate from our parents' own nutritional choices and what they offered us. Now, some of you may have had extremely healthy models in the home and encouragement on the domestic front. I can tell you that Cheese Whiz was a staple of our diet. And it was not just a dip, but it was something that we used for, you know, it was dessert, it was an entree, it was, you know, it could be accompanied by Spam. It might be accompanied by Oscar Mayer bologna. My dad was a big fan of lunch meat, and you know, on weekends, that was when we got out the olive and pimento loaf. Delicious stuff, and you get to thinking about Cheese Whiz on a chemical analysis standpoint. I think it may actually be closer to plastic than to a cheese, and there are some actual arguments in the literature about that. So, you know, we ate a lot of stuff, not necessarily all of it really good for us. And this is a recent email excerpt from Mom. I love my parents. I'm blessed that both of them are still here, and they're retired, well over a decade now. And my parents, my mom, this is an email excerpt from Mom. And you know, you realize at a certain point with your parents that the exclusive province of their conversations has become health issues. Trips to the doctor are social expeditions. Conversations tend to dwell upon the various ailments suffered, frequently while lingering over dinner at Village Inn. And at some point, you know, you have to step back and question and wonder, okay, you know what? I am very insistent about this. I love my parents very dearly, and I'm sure you do yours. As an adult, we have a responsibility to say, okay, let me reflect on that experience and make a conscious determination about the extent to which I'm going to perpetuate that or I'm going to differentiate from that. So I don't know if you were aware of this. This is just a photo of some sliced mushrooms and some chopped grape tomatoes. Fresh vegetables usually taste better than canned. Was this news to? No, you were aware of that. I wasn't entirely aware of that because, like any number of you, I'm sure that growing up you may have more frequently consumed canned vegetables because they were cheaper and more convenient for the parents, for mom to get something to us than what the fresh veggies are. But what I found as an adult is simple learning, but important, simple differentiation from what was instilled in me is that almost any dish tastes better and is going to be more flavorful and have a little bit more zing to it if you're willing to take a few moments and get something fresh and chop it up or incorporate those fresh ingredients into it. You know, again, in the interest though of total transparency, I haven't differentiated in every way. I guess it's somewhat a sign of intergenerational upward mobility that, you know, our kids tend to eat Tombstone if they're eating a frozen pizza, whereas I dined on Totino's party pizza. So, and I don't know whether the Tombstone is ironically or appropriately named. So I want to talk with you further about the challenges of parenting and what our roles are as parents in encouraging active lifestyles. And, you know, it is an investment. It's an investment to keep your kids active. It's an investment of time. It's also, for many of us, a practical investment of resources, of money, of gas, food, lodging, getting them to their various activities they participate in. This is a photo of my son, Tony. He plays defense, loves hockey, has played ice hockey for years. We want to continue to encourage that. However, when you encourage active lifestyles among your kids, you get some unintended consequences. If you want this, then you get to deal with this. This is a photo of our garage door, which has been puck-marked and pocked with black rubber marks and dents all over it. You know, the scary part is he wasn't aiming for the door. He was aiming for the garbage can. And, you know, he's doing this and he's active. Hey, my kid's active. He's out in the driveway swinging that stick and hammering the rubber puck. And I didn't know what was going on. If we were I was downstairs. I thought maybe we had received a hailstorm or something. And I came running up and I'm like, channeling Fabian, my dad, "What the hell are you doing?" And, you know, the great thing about an active kid who's engaged in what they're doing is he was like, "What? I'm working on my slap shot." I mean, that was it. So, you know, furthermore, perils of parenting and encouraging active lifestyles. This is Ben. Ben, our youngest, had a spiral fracture to his tibia on a skiing trip. And, you know, that honestly was very daunting, and he was pretty tentative about then getting back out there on the slopes because it didn't happen out in Colorado on a double black diamond run. It happened at Mount Crescent. And if you've been to Mount Crescent, that's Ski Iowa, Mount Crescent, okay? It's really not like, it's a bit of hyperbole to refer to it as Mount Crescent. Gradual green slope downward would be more like an accurate name. And yet, you know, if you fall just right, you're still going to get hurt. And that's what happened. And the thing is, and many of you as parents have had to deal with the setbacks that come from a kid who's got restricted mobility because he got hurt. And all those tough, difficult things that you imagine, from bathing to bathroom to rest to interrupted sleep and so forth, come with that sort of situation. But, the good news is, hey, he stayed with it, and he had a great time when we did make it out to Colorado for 2 days over winter break. So modeling it at home is really important. And this is in the realm of what I was talking about with fresh food cooking and preparation. This can be pretty easy, right? Hy-Vee has great produce, and you just buy the fresh green beans and chop them up with some mushrooms and a couple tablespoons of good olive oil and some seasoning. I like Penzeys. Anyone else into Penzeys spices? Oh, they've got the best, and they have so many that include no salt. And it's just great stuff. And there's one off 72nd in Omaha if you're looking for a branch outlet. But Penzeys has great stuff. So, it's easy, it can be easy, and it can be accomplished in a few short minutes. So, trying it at home, though, realistically, this is the thing. That's a serving of, there's some roast beef up at the top there of the plate. And then there's a single, lonely, solitary bean. Hell hath no fury like a 10-year-old confronted with a green bean. I mean, you wouldn't think that a single green bean, has the power to invoke a meltdown of monumental proportions. That little green bean, so lonely on the plate, yet so powerful. Absolutely overwhelmed Sam. Put him into, a tantrum, a fit of rage, a meltdown. And yet, as parents, we try. And you make that commitment to continuing to put it in front of them, even though there's often small steps towards progress, and then there are the occasional setbacks. Trying it at home, blackberries. Ben's first attempt at blackberries. I did not know that blackberries could induce the gag reflex quite so readily among a 9-year-old, and yet they can. So he spit those up. And, the thing is, though, it's a matter of continually trying, of staying the course, because Ben actually eats strawberries and bananas really, really well. But apparently there's something about just the surface texture of a blackberry that completely sends his throat into convulsions. So, it's a matter of, as parents, we've got to have that willingness to experiment. And then we've got to keep it real, right? Keep it real, people. Or keep it almost real. I mean, I don't know about you, but, I really, really like a good grape. But I often find that grapes just aren't sweet enough on their own. So if I take a Jell-O packet, how many of you have seen this little recipe? The leprechaun grapes or candied grapes. And you can take a sugar-free Jell-O packet, powder packet, and just tear it open, mix it up with the grapes, chill it, and then you have what appears to be an almost candy-like coating on the grapes. And so the thing is, this is how our two youngest actually eat grapes. They do eat grapes. So, on the trade-off of things, they're eating grapes. The downside of it is the same argument that I've heard, which I think has some credibility, related to flavored waters, which is, does everything always have to be enhanced, flavor enhanced, sweetened in some way? And so that's the challenge. And by the way, you can do the same with apples. That's also I'm not offering it as a cooking tip, I'm just telling you that. So this chart you can't really get a good legible read of with the contrast and the size of it, but it's one of those great pictograms, and it's just called Sleep or Die. sleep or die. Again, just trying to be real candid with you. And divulge personally, once you're done, you've battled like we just battled with the kids to eat the right stuff that we took the time to prepare and to put it in front of them and challenge them, and then force a healthy snack upon them instead of maybe the first dessert of choice, which, by the way, Sam actually hacked my Twitter account, and one of the tweets he got out before I realized it was, "I hate snacks," because the snacks we were trying to get him to comply with were not of his first choice. So think about this. Then you compel the kids to brush their teeth and get off to bed. And by this time it's, I don't know, sometime between 8:30 and 9:30 p.m. And now it's time, Mom and Dad, for a little rest and relaxation, right? It's time for a little me time. And by me time, Mom, I mean make sure you fix the lunches for tomorrow. Make sure that we do a couple loads of laundry, right? Make sure that, because look, it's not an indictment of you as a parent, because I know we were at baseball practice until 8:30 p.m., but Ben couldn't find a left sock this morning. And every morning at our house, I don't know what it's like in your houses, but every morning in our house, it's almost like we're doing it new again the first time. Like it's a surprise. We're going to go out the door with a backpack and a lunch and head off to school. And so sleep tends to take a back seat. And if you think about it, the real truth, I mean, it's not just a figurative thing. Sometimes when parents say, "God, these kids are killing me," they really are. They're killing you. They are taking years off your life, and you have to find a way to instill routines and get things going in a positive way so that the resistance to healthy choices is down and the compliance with a good, healthy habit and domestic routine is there. Because if you don't, stress plus sleep loss equals bad decisions, right? Because we've all been there. I mean, you never want to eat worse and are never prone to more bad dietary decision making than when you're completely wigged out and stressed out. And that's when I find myself saying, and I hear my wife saying, and we say things like, I just need a little boost, just a little pick-me-up, just that something, that non-nutritious alternative, whatever it is. Well, the good thing is that occasionally you get out of the house, right? And if you're a parent, you're out of the house to promote your kids' activities. And, this is one of life's great ironies for so many parents I talk to. And I hear this all the time. I drive my children all over the Midwest like they're elite, top-performing athletes. And in many cases, they perform on teams that have the word elite somewhere in them, right? And in order to do that, we eat concession stand crap on a routine basis because it's what we're exposed to. And so here's the thing I want to throw out there, and I mean this, just keeping it simple. I found out that there are grocery stores in Des Moines too. And some of them even have pretty good produce departments. And so if you're staying at a hotel, you don't necessarily need to pack the cooler, because having the planning and preparation to get all that done in advance is sometimes pretty difficult. But, large metropolitan areas, even drugstores like Walgreens and Costco actually sell fresh fruit now. And some of that's because of the Partnership for a Healthier America and some of the work that they've done. So, another point on travel, that it's possible to work out, but you have to plan ahead to pack the knapsack, right? Just bring the shoes, shorts, compression shorts, a shirt, you're good to go, right? Take 20 minutes, take 30 minutes, hit the hotel exercise room and make that commitment. And now I will share with you my incredible results guaranteed workout program. I'm sorry, you must have had me confused with Meb, America's greatest marathoner. Obviously, look, if you saw me in short shorts, you'd understand the striking resemblance, right? No, you wouldn't, ma'am. You would not. Okay, so my thing is I like to run. And the thing I want to talk to you about is it doesn't matter how you get to what you like to do. It's important that you find something that you like to do. Because unlike Meb, who is an elite, top-performing athlete, an incredible, we're talking a 2:05 marathon is what these guys run, what Meb and the people he runs with run. I got the school record in the 2-mile run at home of the Mighty Mustangs, Mount Vernon High School. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I got that because I was the only person who was forced to run that event since 1974, okay? Just telling you. So here is Jim Bellamy. This guy is a legendary distance running coach. I'm sorry, he's actually a legendary football coach, and he is a track coach, or was for many years. And Coach Bellamy, AKA Hell's Bells, because he gave us so much hell. He was so tough. He was so disciplined. He is a Hall of Fame prep football coach. What Jim Bellamy stumbled upon as an insight that helped me was that he realized if he forced me to run further, he would have to hear me talk less. And so Coach Bellamy encouraged me to be a runner. And like I said, I kind of got into running then because I found that just getting some space between me and others and me and my own thoughts and just getting out there and getting some miles under my feet felt pretty good. So I continued to make a personal commitment. Now, here I am. This is after the 2010 Boston Marathon, and I am not smiling because I'm wearing a finisher's medal. I am smiling because I'm right next to a bed. Because if you ever want to learn about how average of a runner I am, wow, the 2010 Boston Marathon taught me that really, really well. Because I had qualified through the Lincoln Marathon, and I was one of the top 100 finishers. It's pretty impressive, I must say. I was much more impressed than I should have been with my accomplishment. I qualified, so I ran a BQ time, and I ran the Boston Marathon, and I started out, and Meb, whom I'm confused with sometimes, Meb ran the Boston Marathon too. From where I started, the corral in which I started, you could not even see the elite runners. It was wall-to-wall runners, and I sprinted out at the start like so many people do, and I thought, I'm just going to kind of poke through here and get through the crowd, and you know what? They were all faster than me, and thousands of them. So by the time I finished the Boston Marathon, Meb had already had a press conference, a post-race massage, and was probably at the airport headed back to his training facility. Point being, it's not really about being elite because most of us are never going to be exceptional athletes. The point is participation. It's committing to a level for a lifetime that you can do, and sometimes what it takes to keep that personal commitment is somebody pushing you. Now, I love this photo. It is Sandhills Marathon last year. And I love this photo because in the picture I'm in front of Ryan Zababa. And Z is one of my running partners, and he finished way ahead of me actually. But this was the halfway point. Shortly after this point, so it was at 13 miles. Shortly after that point, I just told Ryan, hey man, I'm done. I mean, I know that 3:30 goal of yours, it's gone for me. I've shelved it. He actually said to me, dude, that may have been the worst halftime speech I've ever heard. He kept me going. He kept me going. Do you have someone who keeps you going? Do you have someone you can turn to for that inspiration? You know, here's another thing. Fitness, look at this motley crew. This is the literal motley crew right here. At the finish of the market-to-market relay, fitness is not a fashion statement. This is not a good-looking group of guys, okay? And, you know, I'm there on the far left, and I'm smiling along with a number of others in the picture, mostly out of relief that we're done with the relay. And the guy on the far right, your far right, Ben Houchin, Ben is grimacing there because Ben had to run the last leg. And, you know, it's about the camaraderie that you derive from being with people who reinforce your best self and challenge you to commit to taking care of yourself. Doesn't matter if it's running. That's just what works for me. So, what's our level of commitment to kids in this? Well, this is a photo of two of my sons and two of their buddies on a road trip to Minneapolis, St. Paul to visit various skate parks, because Minneapolis has like half a dozen different skate parks. And skateboarding is hard work, hard physical activity. And I mean, you look at this picture, don't they look bad? I mean, don't those dudes look bad? Trust me, they smelled worse, okay? They smelled really bad. But you know what? If you want to encourage kids to be physically active, you make those commitments. You do things that you would otherwise never see yourself doing in locations you would never find yourself, because you want to encourage them to be their best active selves. So I want to share with you some of those who inspire me to be the best active self I can be and to commit to personal wellness. And what I asked these people who inspire me, and they're people with whom I work, people with whom I'm privileged enough to be around day in and day out. So I've seen them demonstrate their resilience, battle through stuff, stay committed. And I asked them, well, what keeps you going and what works for you? And this first photo is of Vicki Carper with her class. Vicki is a teacher at Norris Elementary. And Vicki offered that as an educator, I couldn't ask my students to do things I wasn't practicing. Healthy lifestyle is a journey. It's a journey. We never actually get to the destination. We accomplish different things and achieve different goals, but then there's always that next thing out there. And Vicki noted that she has better, quicker recall on students' names and is more responsive to students as a result of her commitment to being more physically active over the last several years. That's pretty powerful. Janet teaches at Norris Middle School. And Janet is a leader in integrating physical activity. The thing that I love so much about Janet and I have so much respect for is that Janet is always about inclusiveness. She is always the one putting out there that, you know what, there's another opportunity. There's another opportunity for us to do something together. Let's do it, you guys. And that's not a program. That's not a prescription. That's not some kind of off-the-shelf solution. It's the power of relationship and the commitment of a person to welcoming others to wellness. Colleen, love this photo. The photo absolutely embodies the crazy, zany enthusiasm and zeal of Colleen Beatty, an elementary teacher at Norris Elementary. And her thing is, you do what works. And Colleen's someone who, she's run, but she does a bunch of other stuff. And she said that she has to continually find new things to keep her interested, because she's not a one workout regimen kind of gal. That's what she said. I'm someone who finds satisfaction in inspiring others, so she loves to work out with others and be a part of a group, a part of a team, has served as a Weight Watchers facilitator and a Weight Watchers at Work leader, and has had huge accomplishments in that arena. Janelle, check out the ortho boot. Janelle has run multiple marathons, but you know what? She's not running anywhere right now. That picture, nope. But you know what she's doing that I think is so cool? Because it's inspired me to think, man, what if you had to shift like that? Could you do it? Would you have the willpower to do it? Stay focused on maintaining health through injury, through setbacks. She's got plantar fasciitis, and it has really affected her ability. She can't run without pain right now. But what she's continued to do is swim, bike, elliptical, all those things to try and stay at it. And her thing is, I'm still going. I'm still going. And I think that that's a really powerful example for all of us. This next guy is a madman. And he is incredible, and he's a great role model, and he's a Norris board member. His name is Jim Craig. Jim is the angry cow adventurer. Jim's outfit, his whole lifestyle, he decided over 5 years ago now that he was going to do what he loved and do what he actually wanted to do all along, which was promote healthy lifestyles through adventure racing. His birthday present to himself, it was just like 2 years ago, was to just run 50 miles. Just because he thought that seemed like a good idea. Running, riding, rappelling, kayaking, navigating, North Platte, Kearney, Omaha, Lincoln, and out of state. Jim does it all, and he does it because he loves it, not because there's any glory in it, just because it's fun to be out there and be outdoors. Patty Herman, middle school teacher at Norris. The thing I love so much about Patty is I think she understands better than almost anyone the mind-body connection and how that affects everything we do and who we are and how present we are in the moment. She has so much calm energy, and she attributes that to her disciplined yoga routine, and that her learning to offer is flexibility is vital to overall health. Love this picture of Charlotte Brotherson with her family canoeing. Thing that inspires me about Charlotte, she's a cancer survivor. She exercises because it helps her work off stress, keeps her strong to keep up with her own kids, which I think is a great motivation to be active and to stay healthy. And another thing that she offered that I didn't note here that I think is really cool is just how she said, everything's connected. Everything's connected in your health. And in terms of strength and flexibility. Another model I want to mention, I don't have a photo of her. I think she's here. She is here today. This is a photo from her classroom. This is from Ann Schroeder's classroom, and it lists, and you may not be able to read it very well from where you're sitting, but it lists off some of the calories, fat, saturated fat, and sodium in restaurants at which our students and their families commonly dine, just to help them develop that nutrition literacy. This is Ann Schroeder's classroom. Ann teaches health and PE at Norris High School, and it lists Chipotle and Applebee's and Chili's and P.F. Chang's. And the thing that I have so much respect for about Ann is that she is always preaching it. She is always preaching and teaching it, and she's always promoting what's possible through kids developing meaningful personal health goals. And Ann's had to fight through a lot of loss personally, and has done so in a way that she carries herself with dignity, and she shows how transcendent a message of personal health can be, because whether it's her sister's challenges, her brother's traumatic injury, the loss of her mother, all of that, knowing Ann and seeing how strong she is on promoting messages of health for students, it's pretty awesome how she gives those tools to empower young people. So, it's time to get up, stand up. All right, everybody get up for a minute here. And what I want you to do is I want you to think back about what I challenged you with in opening my comments. Take a minute here, and a 30-day goal and a 30-day goal and a 3-year stretch goal for personal fitness. And I want you to find someone at another table and share. Doesn't have to be someone you know, but just by the simple act of vocalizing and verbalizing a goal in personal fitness, share a 30-day or a 3-year stretch goal in fitness and personal wellness with someone at another table. And I'll be back in just a minute. All right. If I could draw you back here again, take about 30 seconds and draw your focus back front. I now have door prizes for you, participants. Yes, prizes. Prizes, people. I'm going to share a really basic thing that's used as a strategy at Norris as a tactile kinesthetic learning strategy in a lot of classrooms, really basic. And we're going to start out just kicking one out here. This happens to be this magical thing. It may look like just a really basic $1.99 ball purchased at Super Saver. Oh, no. This is, my friends, the question ball, okay? Now somebody's got to pick it up. All right, you grabbed it, man. So it's on you to share. The question is, what is a 30-day or a 36-month stretch personal wellness goal for you? Share it with the group.
My 3-year goal is to run a marathon with my brother.
Excellent. Thank you. You get to keep that. You get to keep that. Yes. Now, this may appear to be a simple under $2 ball purchased at a local retail store. However, it is actually the complement ball, okay? That's you. Okay, now here's the complement ball. If you've got one in your classroom, and you can incorporate these fairly readily. I'd say, $2 or less, you could get one of these for your classroom. A sincere affirmation for someone who shared a goal with you. Share out. Which is, you can share a compliment about someone who shared a goal with you.
I compliment your 3-year goal for running a marathon.
Excellent. I think he's feeling the love. Are you? Yeah. All right. And our final prize for the morning, this fabulous crystal ball allows the person in possession to see the future. And what this does is the person who has this crystal ball gets to... Excellent, nice grab. You pick any physical activity strategy, a stretch, a routine, that then the whole class engages in. It could be a simple stretch, or it could be, if it were a regular classroom, you might say, well, we're going to all walk down the hall and back or something. So it wasn't meant to be a trick question either. Excellent. Check it out. See, you learned something. Hey, that concludes my remarks for the morning. I want to encourage you to keep your commitments for personal wellness 30 days and 3 years out. And I want to thank you very much for being such a great group and listening to me tell my stories to you.